Hello everybody. Today this video is going to go off on the Sapele and the Walnut. And in particular what we're looking at here is going to be the clear coat and then going to the Tamarack finish. Clear coat, Tamarack. So the darker one's always going to be the Tamarack. Now with our samples that you get these 3/4 plywood face and back. We spray one side with the clear coat, we spray one side with the Tamarack. Now both the Sapele and the Walnut are both already dark materials. And you're obviously with each board that we cut, with each tree that these things are cut down from, the color tone is going to be slightly different. So the way that color tone from that board, interacts with the stain color, can really make these things look exactly the same. I mean, look at this side of the Sapele, look at this side. They look almost exactly the same. And unless you really have a good sample in front of you, I guess it's kind of hard to say. So with the Sapele, let's take a look at that one first. As you see right here. This piece right here was cut about 2 to 3 years ago, so it's aged, fully. The Sapele tends to get, I believe, a little bit darker over time. So let's take a look at this. So it's really hard to tell when I look at this thing from just in normal light here. Both sides look exactly the same. Now the way I would really be able to tell if this was Tamarack or clear coat is probably by feeling the grain. The Tamarack stain is a water-based stain, so it's going to raise your grain just a little bit. It's going to make it feel a little bit more textured. That's not a real great way of doing it, but that's the way I'm kind of feeling these things. Looking at it from a color tone point of view, let's see which one's lighter. That looks pretty close. Okay, so this is obviously the darker side, just because I have this, but you can tell just how small the variation is going to be between the clear coat and then the Tamarack. So I think this is going to be the Tamarack right here. It's just a little bit darker. And then right here we have the clear coat, and obviously this grain, you can see the grain pattern on this is a little different than our wood sample. That's just variation from one tree to another. Okay, so that's pretty much the only way I could really tell. In general, I'd say that they're going to be roughly the same as far as color tone. Now, if you do use the Tamarack, the nice thing about the Tamarack is it's going to even out the color tone, the variation between in the different boards that we cut. So I like using the Tamarack stain on the darker woods just because that's going to make it a more consistent color. It's going to really make it look nicer in your project. So you're not going to have light to really dark to really light to really dark. The Tamarack's going to kind of even out your color tone just a little bit. So I usually recommend using the Tamarack stain on these darker wood types. Let's move over to the Walnut real quick. Clear coat's up here, Tamarack's down here. Walnut right here, this guy right here, let's take a look and see if we can find out which one's darker. I'd say this is the darker side, just slightly. Now this walnut that's used for the veneer is probably already pretty dark. Now this is obviously a different piece of material altogether. When walnut ages, like I said before, this piece right here is about 3 years old. Walnut tends to get a lot lighter. It actually lightens up, unlike cherry, which darkens up. So with walnut, this thing actually lightens up, gets a little bit more of a yellow tone. Now this thing was sprayed not that long ago, probably a few weeks back. So this is going to be your clear coat, and obviously this is going to lighten up just a little bit, so we can get a better view. It kind of yellows and lightens just a little bit. And walnut's the darkest wood we have, so keep that in mind too. Take a look at the Tamarack. The Tamarack's kind of got a bit more of a brown texture. You're not going to see as much color variation between the two. Overall, they almost look exactly the same, but I can tell just a little slight difference. There's the Tamarack side. It's just slightly darker. Really hard to tell, honestly, even when I'm looking at it right here. You can see right here in the wood sample we have, obviously this one's darkened quite a bit, but that's what I'd say. So I'd say that's the Tamarack side. Tamarack side's right here, clear coat side's right there. And after it probably cures for, I'd say, 3 months or so, you can have this color a little bit more light. Now this whole display that we do in our showroom right here, this is all walnut. This is the clear coat walnut. You can really tell how much it's lightened up a little bit. Got a lot of sun hitting it right here. So take a look at that. Now let's look at the back side of the door. This thing doesn't have a lot of UV exposure. It's kind of hard to get. I'm shooting this with an iPhone. But it's a lot darker actually than the face. It's like almost got it's almost bleached it seems like. And that's the walnut. Very nice material. And it's all real wood, so it's going to have that, it's going to have the wood variation there. So that's pretty much it. Walnut and Sapele, everybody. Thanks.